What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another highly combustible reaction. We're jumping into the next one on our Casey Kilmore journey. Habits I've learned from the Dutch. Good Lord, I probably learned some of these very same habits. If you guys enjoy it, make sure you get over show Casey Kilmore, all the love in the world. I've already smashed that like button. I've already hit the subscribe button a long time ago. You guys go do the same thing if you haven't done so already. It's right there inside the description. Let's see what habits she's learned.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about habits that Dutch people have taught me. I did a video, I think it was my last video, where I was talking about weird or strange aspects of the Dutch culture, whereas in this video I want to talk about some of those aspects of their culture that have really improved my life and habits that I've been happy to take on. Some of them a little bit more purposefully and some of them by accident, but I'm going to talk about them all in this video, so let's get into it.
What's the first habit?
So my number one habit that I've picked up from the Dutch people is being direct. Now I know a lot of expats and
I'm definitely a little bit more direct now than I used to be. Now I'm that friend that's probably gonna tell you, yo, bro, you got some shit on your face. Like, wipe that off. Like, instead of just being like, oh, like, hey, like, no, I'm gonna just let you know how it is. They let you know how it is and everything turns out all right. You realize that, hey, sometimes they say some things that you're just gonna have to not get offended by. You're gonna have to look at it as a cultural thing for sure.
a lot of foreigners will say that the Dutch are notorious for being direct, and it can come across sometimes as a little bit rude. I want to defend this. I don't think that is their intention. I don't think the Dutch are being rude. And I think this has a lot to do with me having learnt Dutch and learning how the words are built into sentences and how they use the language to communicate with each other. It's just how you speak. In English, we have a tendency to add in a lot of filler words. We fluff up our sentences with a lot of stuff that is completely unnecessary.
You're absolutely right.
When I was first learning Dutch, I would take the sentence that I wanted to say in English, and then I would basically translate all of those words, put them into a Dutch order, and produce my Dutch sentence. And it doesn't sound Dutch because that's not how they use the language. My partner would be like, you don't need to say that, you don't need to say that, and be taking all of these extra words that I was wanting to use all the time.
That happens constantly. If I ever message something to my Discordies in Dutch, half the time they return it to me with a whole bunch of the words that I put in there missing.
The Dutch are direct, they say what they mean. And now that we're back in Australia, I have found that I've been using my English in a very Dutch way. I tend to use a lot less filler words and I just say what I mean. I'm being way more direct.
It saves time.
People are probably thinking I'm being abrasive, but I'm not. I'm just saying what I mean and I'm getting to the point and I'm using my Dutch efficiency to get my point across. So the number two habit would be
they are a very efficient people.
Fake friendly. I think being in Australia and coming from an English speaking culture, we have a tendency again to use all those fluffy words, but this over dramatization of being friendly and big smiles and bouncy words and sentences where the tone is like this and how are you going and what can I do for you today and big smiles, and it kind of feels a little fake. Now that I've been exposed to a couple of years of Dutch culture where it's polite, it's nice, there's nothing rude about it, but it's not fake, it's not over the top, it's not too much, it's just kind of normal. And being put back into Australian culture, I'm like, why are all these people behaving like this? It's so weird. So I think I've definitely tried to take that on, only being excited and happy when I really mean it and not because I feel like that's how you should communicate with people. So being less fake friendly and being more genuine with my emotions. Now my third habit is more to do with how the Dutch plan everything.
Oh God, no.
Plan ahead for everything.
That is not one of the habits that I've picked up. The only plan that I have every day is getting on here and doing reactions. After this, I have no fucking clue what I'm gonna do next. Not a single clue. I could go do this or I could go do that, and I enjoy having that kind of freedom.
Everything. Doesn't matter if it's a 30-minute chat, if it's a casual coffee, if it's a drop by, the Dutch plan and weeks ahead. I know it took me a long time to get used to this when I first got to the Netherlands, because I was so used to that Australian culture of like, oh, we're in the neighborhood, like let's just drop by, or we just stopped in, or, you know, knocking on someone's door to see if they're home. And that does not exist in the Netherlands. You make an appointment with someone, you make it weeks in advance. I think people's private time is really sacred as well, and that was something that doesn't really exist in the Australian culture. If someone in the Netherlands has time off, that's also time for them. And if they want to see you, they'll make time to see you. They also rarely cancel, and they are always on time. And these are two aspects that I love about the Dutch culture.
I've always been one of those people that's always on time, a little bit early. Like normally I leave and I'm always 15 minutes prior to every single appointment that I have. I'll be out there 15 minutes beforehand to make sure that I'm there on time, and ready on time. But that's something that the military taught me. I should pick up a little bit more of the whole, hey, listen, if you want to see me, we need to make some plans. Like, we need to plan it out, because my time is really and truly the most valuable thing to me in the world. But I never would have thought about it like that had I not met you, Dutchies, because here it's normal. People just stop by and knock on your door, and you're like, shit, you have to drop whatever you're doing at that certain point in time to go answer the door and find out who's at your door and why they're at your door and who's just decided to pop over. And it really can be annoying. Normally, I used to just look at it as normal. Now I see it as, I'm like, it really is kind of annoying when people just do what they want to do with your time.
If you make a plan with someone, you can guarantee that it will probably go through, because everyone respects each other's time. Whereas in Australia, it's that little bit more casual, and if you don't make it this time, it doesn't matter, you'll just make it next time, or you'll push out that date that little bit further. So I have tried to adopt this, and if I make a plan, I am always on time and I stick to it. A plan is a plan.
See, and that's something that I'll have to start doing that more often. I've already started respecting other people's time more often. Whenever I'm talking to someone on the phone, they're just like, oh, well, why didn't you just come by if you were in the neighborhood? Why didn't you just, well, I didn't want to intrude on you. I didn't want to be that person where hours later we're looking at it and going, is that the time? Hurry up and get the hell out of my house.
So my next point, I don't think I really realized I was doing, but when my mother came to visit us when we were living in Amsterdam and it drizzled like the tiniest bit, she was like, oh, well, we'll just stay inside today. We'll make like a home day. And at first I was like, but why? We've planned to do this and we've planned to do that. And we're going to go to the market and this and that. And it is very ingrained in the Dutch culture. You just do what you got to do. It does not matter what the weather is doing. You still need to cycle to work. You still need to walk the dog. You still need to go to the supermarket. And I think in Australia, we are very weather sensitive. There's so many sunny days and so many nice days in the year that you can afford to have that kind of attitude. If it doesn't work out today or tomorrow will be sunny, we'll just do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
The problem is that if you have that attitude in the Netherlands, you'd never get anything done. It rains a lot, it's windy a lot, it's cloudy a lot, or it's cold a lot. So you just have to do what you've got to do. And I love that I still will go for a walk even if it's raining, or still get outside even if it's cold. So that has been a really good aspect of Dutch culture that I have 100% tried to incorporate into my own life and stop being such a weather sensitive Australian.
It's a great way to look at things, though. And that just because Dutchies go and do things in the winter, in the weather, in the rain, in any kind of weather whatsoever, does not mean that they won't talk about it, that they won't complain about it, that they won't discuss the weather somewhere. You already know that that's going to be the case. They talk about the weather literally every single day at some point, which was very bizarre to me. Yeah, it's raining. It is what it is. Like, or they'll be really pissed off, but they'll still go do it anyway. Like, oh, damn, it's raining outside. I don't want to have to go and walk the dog right now. But they still go walk the dog. They still know that they got to get their things accomplished, and they still brave any kind of weather. I think that is something that definitely could be picked up here. Here, when it's raining, it's like, oh, yeah, we're not going nowhere today. It's raining outside.
This probably follows on to my next point, which is dressing for the weather. I think in Australia, we basically pretend that winter doesn't exist and still wear shorts and t-shirt in winter, which makes no sense. But in Dutch culture, especially probably this is more aimed at the women, they don't dress over the top. There's not a lot of makeup. They don't wear heels very often. Practicality and comfortability are like priority number one when it comes to dressing yourself. And I love that. I love that things are kind of a little bit more casual. Even if you are going out for an evening meal, you can just wear jeans and a nice top and that's enough. So I like that. Be warm, be comfortable, be practical in the way that you dress, be presentable, and that's it. So
that's the way that it should be in my mind. Just be presentable. Like, I really don't. You're not dressing yourself for me. I'm not dressing myself for you. I'm dressing myself so that I can be warm, that I can be cooler, that I can be comfortable. The same thing should go with what you put on. Like, I'm not dressing up so that I can impress you. That's for sure. That's not something that I've ever done. But more Americans, I think, need to adopt that. Because right now, a lot of people dress to make other people happy. You're wearing all this name brand shit. You're wearing high heels. You're wearing loads of accessories. You're wearing loads of makeup. Like, is it necessary? Is it truly and honestly necessary? If someone doesn't like you because of the clothes that you got on, or because you didn't put on some makeup today, they're not somebody I want in my life. Like,
I have definitely taken that habit on board and I'm a big fan of it. Now this one I'm still working on, but I do massively appreciate it. I think that the Dutch are very good at asking for what they want. And in Australian culture and in English speaking culture, you kind of dance around topics a little bit. And I mentioned this earlier in the fact that we add a lot of fluff.
Yeah, we say we want something in a way other than
the
we
Dutch
want
have a
that.
saying, and it goes, een nee heb je, maar een ja kan je krijgen. So essentially it's saying that you have a no, but you can get a yes. And I think the saying that we probably have in English would be, you never know unless you ask.
Yeah.
The Dutch are very good at asking. If you want that discount, if you want that freebie, if you want that pay rise, if you want that promotion, there's no harm in asking, but you have to ask to see if you'll get it. So I love this. I'm definitely trying to purposefully create this and ask for those things and ask for what I want, and it makes a big difference. So this is a very good habit to take on board.
That's a very good habit.
Nee heb je, maar een ja kan je krijgen. The next habit is looking for a bargain. The Dutch have been known to be tight with their money, and don't even get me started with Tikkie.
Tikkie, Tikkie, Tikkie. We hear a lot about Tikkie. I wouldn't say that they're stingy. I think that they're just, I don't know. They're independent a lot of times. They know that, hey, this is mine. So I'm going to try to keep as much of mine as possible. And which that makes sense. Go out and look for a bargain instead of just buying the first expensive thing that comes across because you can find the same thing better somewhere else. Like, that's something I think the world right now should do, considering everyone has a hard time right now for the last however many years. A lot of people are not financially stable at the moment. So instead of just saying, oh, I need that, I'm going to buy that. Yeah, I can't afford it, but I'm going to get it anyway. Look for something that has a discount. Look for something that is a little bit cheaper price somewhere else. You can end up saving yourself a hell of a lot of money. The Dutch could definitely teach you how to save some money, that's for sure.
But looking for a bargain and looking for value in what you purchase has been a really good habit to take on board. The Dutch will research things and search for different options and prices at different places and make sure that what they're purchasing is 100% what they want, and that they've found that product or that thing for the best value possible, the best bargain. So being with my Dutch partner for the last 3 years has definitely made me way more financially aware. I'm way less willy-nilly with my money, and we definitely search for a bargain. To be fair, when we were in Asia, he was the one that did all of the haggling and all of the negotiating, because it's just in his bones to be like that. But I've learned a lot from him, and I've learned a lot about looking for a bargain. So that is another part of the Dutch culture that I have 100% taken on board. So my very last habit that I have learned.
I don't have a car. I have a bicycle. I have my feet. I'm trying to use myself more to get myself around. If I want to go somewhere, I want to make it to where, hey, I'm gonna get there, but at the same time, I don't need a car to drive around the block. I don't need a car to drive right across the street to the supermarket. I don't need. We really, really are, especially here in America. We're super reliant on the car. I've seen someone drive their car in our apartment complex from their apartment to the mailboxes to get their mail, and it's like, it's in the same damn parking lot. That kind of overuse and over, like, necessity on a car. Oh, I need this. I gotta drive. You're wasting money on gas. You're wasting time because you already could have been there and back by the time you get over there and park. I don't know. I think it makes us inherently lazier when we rely on the car constantly.
From the Dutch people would be to use public transport and walking and biking, cycling to get places, and adopting this and being outside and being kind of more active, I guess, in where you go and how you get there. Coming from Australia, a country that is so spread out, every time you leave the house, you get in the car, and you've got this whole country that has this very strong car culture. And when I got to the Netherlands, we had been cycling in Asia for about 10 months. So I like to joke and say that that was my test to see if they'd let me in. But I was cycling everywhere, and it really drummed out that car culture that you need a car to get places. So we have been 100% reliable on public transport and cycling and walking to get our daily things done, groceries, get to work, all of those things. And it's not weird to not have your driver's license in the Netherlands. It's super expensive, so the government itself even discourages people from wanting to get their license. So I love this fact about the Dutch culture, and I've definitely been trying to adopt that.
It's the only problem, I think, with even Australia, a lot of these bigger countries where things are more spread out, is that they're more spread out. A lot of things are too far away to go here, for sure, unless you have a car. Unless it's something right around the house that you need to get done, right across the street, a few blocks over, something like that. Most things are miles away. And unless you got the time to bicycle over, most Americans opt for the auto. They really do.
It's been tricky here knowing that everything's so spread out that we do jump in the car a lot more often, but I cannot wait to get back to the Netherlands and jump back on our bikes and be riding around, especially now that our daughter is old enough to be jumping on with us. So they are my habits that I have learned from the Dutch. If you have been living in the Netherlands or you've picked up some Dutch habits, please let me know in the comments below. I would love to read them and hear about them. If you liked this video, then please give it a big thumbs up. It really helps out my channel. And if you want to see more videos about language learning and learning Dutch, then please remember to subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Casey Kilmore with habits I've learned from the Dutch. Most certainly some habits in there that are some fantastic habits to have life-wise that will probably help make your life more efficient, I would say, for sure. Instead of just, there's a lot of waste going on elsewhere. There's a lot of things, wasting time, wasting money, wasting resources, just waste, straight up waste. And there's a lot of that can be cut back if you did pull on some of these habits, for sure. Shout out to all my Discord Dutchies for teaching me the right things. Get over, show Casey Kilmore all the love in the world. If you guys enjoyed it, her link is right there inside of the description. Smash the like button if you liked it, the dislike button, but I won't believe you. Till the next one, I'm out of Combustible. You guys be happy, healthy, safe. Love you to the moon and back. Peace.